Hey, everybody. On this episode of the GH Report, we are back after a long winter hiatus, and we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We've got Ryan committing another murder, our cult leader revealed, Shiloh is really Hank, and what's going on with Kim and Drew. We're going to break all that down and more next.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, hey, everybody. We're doing it. In 2019, it's another fresh new episode of the GH Report right here on AfterBuzz TV. Of course, we like to break down all the latest goings on in Port Charles. I'm your host, Frank Moran, and usually my cohort in crime, Carla Renata, would be right there. We'd be breaking it all down together as well. But Carla has a fantastic opportunity, and she's actually gone this week. So rather than just doing it by myself, I figured out why not reach out to another person that loves GH almost as much as I do, and that is my partner in crime, Erika Schreiber.
Hello, everybody. It's so wonderful to be here.
Look at this. Yes.
Big shoes to fill for Carla. I wouldn't even attempt to go there, but it's fun to be here for the night.
Yeah, there you go. So Erika and I will have a little, this will be like a little fun one-off there. You can get some peeks into our relationship as well as our thoughts about GH, which may not necessarily coincide.
No,
Absolutely.
That's true.
In fact, when I actually did a little dry run with Erika yesterday, I reminded her the first time that we met was I went to go meet her on our first date, and she was watching General Hospital, to which you did not even remember.
I have absolutely no recollection of that. So, yeah, we're off to a roaring start.
Well, I see who really remember that first evening. Thank you. All right, that's great. But real quick for all the fans, of course, we all love General Hospital, everybody that's involved with this, but your GH bona fides.
Yep.
Yes.
I have been watching GH for about 20 years, and in fact, seeing the throwback episode on, what was that, New Year's Eve? That they did the Baby Michael episode, and that was like right in my wheelhouse. That's right around the time that I started watching the show, I think 97. So yeah, I had watched Days up to that point, and then a friend turned me on to GH, and I flipped over and never looked back.
Well, look at that. Now, as always, folks, like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and everybody hop in the chat there. Share your thoughts about anything that's happened over our long winter break or anything that might pop up during our conversation. But first, I figure we should dive into probably what is the biggest, at least to me, the biggest storyline, and that is the whole Ryan Chamberlain murder.
Yep.
Spree. It's been holiday related. They did take Christmas off.
Yes.
Yes, Ryan, I guess, wanted everybody to have a Merry Christmas and decided to forgo that holiday, but made up for it on New Year's.
Yes. I'm relieved that I feel like we're turning a corner with Ryan Chamberlain, that like finally we're starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together, because I don't know, this has been dragging on a little bit long for me, I have to say. I find the character pretty creepy, which I guess means he's doing his job.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for the corner to turn.
All right, I want to try to at least put a little real life equivalence into this.
Oh boy.
Say I had a twin that was a murderer.
Yeah.
Yep, and we switched places. Would you be able to tell?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's been a long time we've been together. I think I could tell.
Okay, all right, sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, all right. That didn't seem as confident as I had hoped. I know you intimately. No one could ever fool me. No,
That's right.
Okay,
I think.
All right.
75-25. I think I would know.
75-25.
Sure.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
So we see him where we've known this documentary that they're filming about Ryan Chamberlain has existed, in addition to Lulu doing her articles as well. But we get the one where I feel like this person's doomed for death, when we've never really heard mention of this, seen this character before. But he just pops up in Kevin's office.
Yes.
Says, "Oh, hey, remember me? I did this documentary. Come and check it out."
Yeah.
You knew it wasn't going to end well for this guy.
And I assumed that it was Ryan as Kevin who participated in the documentary.
Yes.
Because I thought, oh, is Ryan going to know who this person is? But clearly he did. So, and if they have history, I didn't see it. Had we seen that filmmaker before?
No, first time.
Yeah.
We knew that the filming was happening, but we'd never seen it.
Yeah. And their relationship, it was too kind of intimate and involved way too quickly. So you knew that something bad was coming for that guy.
Yeah, and so it goes that Ryan goes to the nice little edit suite.
Yep.
Very quiet edit suite there in that long hallway, and goes in. And I do like that he watched some of it. I felt like the stylistic choices for the way that they shot that were interesting for the actual documentary.
Yeah.
Because they are playing clips from Felicia that they're
Yeah.
showing, that he's showing now Ryan posing as Kevin. but they would have some with Felicia talking here, and then some was like this really high up, kind of looking down as they're talking. And I was like, I've seen where it's been, right directly to the camera, or even just maybe the side, but never one where it's kind of been up and looking down. So it was a really weird angle for that documentary interview.
It was the ghost of Ryan, or so they thought, just looking in. I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know. I did feel like that turn at the end felt a little forced, though, when the movie maker was like, oh, let me tell you my great idea for the ending. And then what if he's still alive? Like, where did that come from? I mean, clearly they needed that entry point to set up the murder, but I thought that felt a little bit forced.
Well, because he reveals that there was never any forensic evidence or any remains found from the amusement park fire that supposedly had killed Ryan.
Yeah.
And so he makes this great theory that's like, hey, I'm going to tell him that Ryan could possibly still be out there. So who knows? And Ryan wants to put the kibosh on that.
Right.
But that is also something like, I feel like the police should also, I mean, they should kind of have that theory. If there's no remains,
right,
that the idea should be like, which I thought we were going to get to when we saw Curtis and Jordan going through the old files.
Yeah.
Other than just like, so they're missing driver's licenses. I thought like, wait, there were never any remains found.
Yeah.
Of Ryan. And also, maybe is he still alive? Who knows?
It was only this strange movie maker guy who had that idea, I guess. I don't know.
And, of course, Ryan goes back and deletes, or at least takes with him, all the footage of the film. Mm-hmm. So we'll never be able to find out exactly all that great stuff. I mean, I'm sure Felicia's angry. Mm-hmm. She spent a lot of time talking. I wonder what's ever going to be seen. No.
It looked like a winner.
But I guess... Mary Pat's. I mean, it was certainly the body was beheaded. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's a pretty, not necessarily graphic, but intense reveal, popping in a barrel.
Sure.
But this, by far, I felt like, and Kiki's was more precise.
Yeah.
So we didn't really see a lot of blood and stuff. This one, tons of blood all over that edit bay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, for Ryan having certain consistent themes that come up in each of his murders, I'm not sure why he would have chosen such a bloody end to this one.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's only because as a male, maybe you put up more of a struggle, perhaps, but Ryan didn't seem to have much of any kind of wounds or marks or anything on him.
Or maybe, too, because it was more of an impromptu murder, that wasn't something that Ryan was thinking about for very long, didn't have much time to set it up, so he had to make do with what he had, and perhaps that ended up with just a messier crime scene.
I did like... so he calls, he gets the guy's phone because he gets a text, because conveniently Curtis is going to have a meeting with him about a potential television show.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, we've never heard Curtis profess any sort of interest in television whatsoever until this moment.
Yes.
But so Ryan, he texts the producer, Ryan uses the phone and texts him back to go, hey, meet me at my edit bay because I have to leave tonight instead. Yeah. And when Curtis goes to walk in the room, he just trips over a pillow.
Yeah.
That's all he did. He just tripped over a pillow. That was it. Like, I've walked into many rooms where I haven't seen it, and I've kicked a pillow, but no time has it ever made me stumble down to the ground. That's right, Steve. Like, all right.
What rooms have you walked into that had a pillow just laying there?
Well, maybe someone got knocked off the bed. You walk in and you just have the light on,
Yeah, I suppose.
Those were the days before you met me. I just had
I know.
pillows strewn everywhere. I was like, no.
Yes.
Erika's around now. I can't put my pillows all over.
That's right. I expect a made bed.
That's right. So they're piecing together as a serial killer murder motive. That I felt like, all right, everybody's missing their IDs. Yeah. It's Curtis and Jordan had now postulated it's either, well, they haven't come out that it could be Ryan again, but it's somebody that has at least intimate details of this that they've never released to the public. Yep. And that it seems to be whether trying to emulate or top Ryan Chamberlain.
Yeah. I'm just, as I said before, I'm just relieved that they're moving in that direction in some way, because I'm really ready for someone to start piecing this together. I think this has played out beautifully, but it's time for a shift in the storyline. It's time to speed this up a little bit, I think.
Are you a fan of Kevin Collins? Or, I mean, I should say John Lindstrom, whether it's Kevin Collins / Ryan Chamberlain.
Yeah. I'm finding him incredibly persuasive as Ryan. I mean, his turn as Ryan was before I ever watched GH long ago. So I'm somewhat new to the Ryan Chamberlain character. And I find him very persuasive and fairly unpleasant in that role, which is also why I think I'm starting to crave some sort of justice. Someone to figure this out, because he's such a creepy character.
I mean, well, he's doing his job right.
He is indeed.
Our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows. From drama, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there's no network that works harder to satisfy you, a television fan. And we've looked everywhere. There's nobody. We're the only ones. But we need your help. So we're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. And by doing that, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. But if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't be, because they are optional. So hit that subscribe button now and let us know in the comments that you did so. And you know what? Carly's not here, but she's going to read all those comments. And she, oh my goodness, she's picked up ice sculptures. So she's going to be doing some ice sculptures of your favorite GH character. Just let her know. She'll make those and get them out to you folks there. But for now, thanks for being the best fans around and for making us the ESPN of TV talk. I would have thrown you on, I would have volunteered your services. But I didn't want to do that to you.
Ice sculpting?
Yeah. You want to do ice sculpting?
Sure.
Yeah?
It would just be like a bigger block of ice to a smaller block of ice, if that counts.
That's true. Yeah, there you go. It's still, I just made you a square. It was a beautiful square.
That's right. That's right. Or a rectangle to a square.
There you go.
Yeah?
That's a Rubik's Cube. You can just do a bunch of just little
lines.
Yep. And you're all set.
That's right. I love it.
It's perfect.
I love it.
Another storyline, which, speaking about storylines kind of running their course, I feel the storyline that I am kind of like, I would like this to get closer to the end. And this is Mike's battle with his Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So we saw over the break there where Mike had taken Yvonne and they'd left the facility. They'd gone to go see a jazz club. Everybody's freaking out. Yvonne's husband wanted to get him arrested. And Sonny was able to talk him down off the ledge. But for you, are you enjoying the Mike Alzheimer storyline?
I go back and forth on it. Much like you, there are days where I'm ready for it also to turn the corner and start wrapping up one way or the other. But I have to say, I've really appreciated this storyline with Yvonne, especially the last few days. Preceding that, I mean, the husband wanting to get Mike arrested, I mean, that was kind of ridiculous. But this genuine affection between Mike and Yvonne, I find very compelling. And having to navigate that when they have this genuine affection that's clearly serving both of them in this very vulnerable time in their lives. But of course, Yvonne's husband having to watch this happen. I think I'm appreciating how the show is navigating this and kind of the complexities behind it. So for now, I'm back in on the Mike storyline, but it ebbs and flows for me.
I mean, and it's certainly Sonny and Marcus both have somebody that they care about, but it definitely is a different context for each of them. It's
Right.
a son and a father, so you want the best for your father, but I think harder for a husband seeing his wife slip away and not even remember him or the love that they shared.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, that just must be incredibly difficult. And then seeing Marcus make that even more difficult choice to let Yvonne stay in the facility and be with Mike. I mean, what an incredibly difficult decision. And I feel like, I'm appreciating how the show is handling that storyline right now.
I always enjoy the Mike and Stella scenes. That's another relationship that I really enjoyed.
I agree.
And that definitely did a lot for me to enjoy Stella as a character, that at least, because her only with Jordan,
Yeah.
I really got tired of that.
Yeah, that really wasn't going anywhere. But I like Stella as almost our navigator or our narrator in this Alzheimer's storyline, which is delicate and difficult. And I feel like Stella is there to not only guide the characters, guide Mike, but guide the audience as well.
So it's, Mike is not part of this facility yet, but he's been spending a lot of time there, maybe in the hopes of perhaps moving in. I don't know. Do you say this went on for another year? Would you be fine with that?
I mean, I guess if they found a way to keep it interesting. I mean, part of what's pulled me back into this storyline is, this relationship with Yvonne. And so I think that's offered some fresh material. So I don't know. I don't think I'd want it to go on another year. I mean, unless they really go a new and interesting way with it.
It's tough because I think realistically, somebody going through this, it would be many years.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like weighing that against soap opera, television storytelling. Yeah. And wanting to perhaps accelerate it just because the audience may, which I feel like at points, it kind of, the repetition of certain story beats.
Right.
Or moments. For me, I'm like, okay, we get it. Let's just move on.
Right. It is delicate. I feel like the writers have made a conscious choice to play this out a little bit more in live time, essentially. but I agree. I'm not sure what they would do with it for another year. So I'm not sure if they'll continue going down that road or try something different.
So part of the storyline is Margot, our DA that had it out for Sonny. Because again, he did kill her father. For better or for worse, whatever kind of guy that was, it's still Sonny did kill this woman's father.
Yeah.
So, but learning about certainly more about her mom's history, mom's history with a mob boss that first had Sonny kill her father, but was also kind of instrumental in setting this whole thing up. Margot has kind of softened to Sonny, as it seems everybody that is always out trying to get Sonny often do. They start softening up.
Yep.
To that mob boss.
Yep, those dimples.
So, but Carly doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Which I do like, at least it realizes that, like, Sonny's pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
A woman that needs help, that he softens to them, and then he ends up invariably sleeping with them.
Yeah. Yes. Although I was surprised when Carly went there. I mean, like, in retrospect, I can see why she did, but at the time I'm like, what? Sonny and Margot. But I guess Carly knows him better than anybody and can see those signs earlier than anybody else could. I don't see it going down that road, though. I don't know. Are you sensing that? I'm not sensing that it's going to go that way.
I don't think so. I think all it would take is like one kind of blow up between Sonny and Carly.
Yeah.
Some huge one where Sonny could seek solace and then something would happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I never forget that Sonny is somebody that hooked up with Ava in a crypt.
That is true.
Sonny's not known for great decision making.
Yes, indeed.
Ooh, yeah.
And we have Avery as proof. Yes,
that's
indeed.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
So that happens. I guess I'm trying to understand, because Carly, certainly she got put into Ferncliff because of this whole thing. She really wanted to get Sonny, and the way to do that was to get to Carly and really slam her down for the whole Nell thing, get her in Ferncliff. So given what Carly suffered through there, I guess I could see why she just dislikes Margot.
Right.
But I feel I kind of agree with you there, where it's like you're just jumping so quickly to the Margot Sonny thing.
Right. Yeah, no, it really seemed to come out of left field when she made that observation. I wasn't sure where she was going when she first brought that up.
But again, I don't know. I necessarily think that I want that, because I mean, Carly, as she tells Jason, like, if that happens, I'm done. I would never take him back. But also, I don't know if I want that to happen, because how many times can you break Sonny and Carly apart and then bring them back together?
I agree. I feel like Carly and Sonny need to be together for good at this point. I mean, short of something utterly catastrophic, but I think we need to just, no more breaking up and getting back together, because they will always get back together.
Because you can have Edward and Lila. Yeah. I mean, they were together for the longest time, and you didn't have to make the drama so much about the relationship between the two of them, but just it could be external things. Yeah. And they may not definitely agree on stuff, but it doesn't have to be conflicts within the two of them.
Yeah. Well, and how many times have they been married? I mean, whenever they say how often they've been married, I mean, I can't even.
I think it's 5 times.
I can't even remember. But it's like at some point it becomes ridiculous to break them up again, only to know like a year or two later they're going to end up back together. So just leave them together at this point, I say.
I agree, because I would not care to see them break apart and then watch them kind of just have to rebuild that road to, like, they're getting back together. Great. Right.
Carly would maybe spend a year with the other single guy in town, and then make her way back to Sonny. It's kind of a predictable pattern at this point.
I am trying to figure out what they're going to do with Margot, because she, other than this helping Sonny out, especially at the jazz club, talking Marcus off of trying to press charges against Mike, she's given the flash drive back to Drew. Mm-hmm. I guess she's kind of involved in the Port Charles serial killer murder. Mm-hmm. But she doesn't really have much reason right now. And so I'm trying to figure out what does the show want to keep her around? Right. Does the show have an idea of where they want to move her? Right. Do you sense anything in these storylines?
I don't. To me, she's becoming more of a background player. And I suppose that happens with every character. They have their moments in the spotlight and their moments more in the background. But I know they were trying to do that relationship with Drew early on, which clearly that's over. But I don't even know if that was ever a plan, and the writers decided to veer in another direction. So I feel like this softening of her with Sonny maybe does open some doors, because before that I found her to be pretty one-dimensional. So now at least we've seen, a different side of her, but who she could end up with or what direction this goes, I don't know. I'm not seeing it either.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how much longer she sticks around.
Yeah.
Or they have a plan for her.
Yeah.
But speaking of people kind of sticking into the background, I just want to take a tangent from the main storylines to talk about something else. Because usually during these holiday breaks, especially like Christmas and New Year's, they won't do an episode of the show, the regular show. They'll do a flashback episode. And for the New Year's episode, they did an episode where it was Michael as an infant who needed to get the surgery to repair the defect that he had around his heart. But what I liked about that is it was just great to see a lot of the Quartermaine family in that episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I found myself almost like counting like who is still with us and who isn't. And it was kind of tragic how many are no longer with us in the world of Port Charles.
Yeah. And it's just seeing an episode like that, just seeing how much that the Quartermaine family brought to the series and how, whether it's, through character deaths or writing off characters, that the Quartermaine family has been diminished.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this many times on this show. But for you, how important is the Quartermaine family to you in terms of General Hospital storytelling?
I don't know. I don't feel it palpably that the Quartermaines are a smaller brood. And again, that could be, even though I've watched the show for a long time, I feel like in some ways the real heydays of the Quartermaines are even before I started watching. So, I mean, it always seems unfortunate. I mean, they've had a lot of people die far too young. And so some of that, it just feels like, it's just an unfortunate lot this family has had. But I mean, I feel like the show has compensated in other ways. So I would like the Quartermaines to be bigger, but it doesn't feel like a huge loss to me that they're not.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel differently about that.
Do you?
There you go.
How do you? Tell me.
And that would be the end of that sentence. I feel differently. Moving on with no explanation.
I disagree.
I won't tell you why.
Yeah.
For me, if you see Ned, which...
Well, Frank loves Ned.
I love Ned.
He loves him some Ned. So, yes, I think you also have a stronger pull to some of the Quartermaine characters than I do.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like there's such a large family that were the generator of so many stories that I feel like having that part not there anymore, it feels a little emptier to me. The world feels a little bit smaller in Port Charles.
Do you find, though, that is rooted in things that happened, and again, I know I'm going way back, but things that might have happened even before I started watching the show, which was like the late 90s, things that happened, because I wasn't there when Jason Quartermaine became Jason Morgan, or I wasn't watching when kind of Alan and Monica were really in their heyday of, affairs and whatnot. Like, I feel like there was a lot of drama, maybe early to mid 90s with the Quartermaines that made them like really central characters. I feel like for a lot of the time that I've been watching the show, they come and go as important characters in the show, and they're not always particularly central.
Well, I mean, you had everything where the Eckerts involved. You had Jenny.
I don't even know who those are.
No. Jenny Eckert, who was married to Ned for a little bit there, but that was actually starting to fall in love with Paul Hornsby, who was married to Tracy at the time.
Yeah.
So seeing a lot of that drama as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Eddie Main. That was stuff, Ellen J.
I don't even
know. LNB Records.
Oh, LNB Records.
Yes.
No, but,
No?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think of Quartermaines that I have felt a particular fondness for. Tracy. I thought it was a real loss when Tracy left the show. I really liked Tracy. Sky. I mean, I know that maybe that's random, but I did like Sky, and Ned, of course. I don't know, but I haven't felt a great pull to any number of the Quartermaine storylines.
And I feel like, sadly, which there's really nothing you could do about it, but just Edward Quartermaine, the loss of that character, who could really be the instigator of many storylines, just because of wanted to keep the family close, or manipulating things because he wanted all his family, and he wanted to screw like Carly out of having Michael. Like, no. I want this child under my roof. Just his machinations, I feel like, is something that's missed in the show, and he could push a lot of people in a lot of different directions. Yeah,
I mean, the show really doesn't have a good patriarch at the moment of a family. Yeah, and he definitely served that role. I have this just as an aside, but in that flashback episode, I did enjoy just like pissed off AJ. that look that AJ had just permanently for years. Anytime he was in the vicinity of Jason, I did enjoy that.
So did you watch GH when Sean Kanan was playing AJ, or were you only Billy Warlock?
No, I mean I saw him when he came back
Yes.
as AJ, his second go round, but no, I only so when I started watching, it was the Billy Warlock era.
So for you, Billy Warlock is more AJ, or
Yeah.
Okay.
The Sean Kanan, I would see like those pictures in the background of him and Jason when they were
Yeah.
they were both
Yep.
teenagers, but no, Billy Warlock is definitely more AJ to me.
Well, I mean, there is sort of the brood grew a little bit with the addition of Drew Kane into
Yeah.
it, Jason's twin, who we now see has a old friend from the past come into town.
Yes.
That is Hank.
Yes.
Meets Jason there at a bar. With no ribs involved at the floating rib, but plenty of pool. But we find out that Hank is not just an old friend of Drew's from the military. He was, what was he, a contract employee there.
Yeah.
But also happens to be Shiloh, the head of this new, we're calling it cult because it ultimately seems
We
like
don't know what it is, but it feels culty. Yes.
that Christina and Oscar have been involved in.
Yeah.
Are you intrigued by the addition of Hank / Shiloh?
I guess. I mean, it's still so new. It felt kind of forced when Shiloh just showed up and it was Hank. I mean, I guess I thought it might go that direction, but it was kind of an odd turn in that moment. It's so new. I'm curious to see where it goes. I am fascinated by this cult, though, I have to say. I think what's been intriguing to me is that every time Christina talks about just doing something good, volunteering, everyone is confused and what are you talking about? You're going to go volunteer. Everyone is so suspicious of Christina's, genuinely good works, which I'm finding kind of amusing. But I don't know where they're going with this, and I'm enjoying not knowing where they're going with this. It's curious for me to see how they're setting this up. So, but I'm okay with Shiloh. He doesn't really look the part of cult leader, but we'll see. We'll see how this plays out.
What
do you think of him?
It's interesting because it's definitely tied into Sam's storyline because we do have the person that friends with Oscar and Christina that invited him into the group home.
Yeah.
But is also working at the Alzheimer's facility too as well.
Right.
That is giving those newspapers turn to get Sam's attention. So
Yeah.
somehow Shiloh is dialed back. It seems Shiloh is dialed into Sam's past.
Well, he made that comment to her.
Yes.
Sam, as you know, sometimes you have to change your identity to make a fresh start. So right there, it's like, oh, clearly he's behind this somehow. But so you start thinking about what would his motive be, and I guess if Drew really did save his life, is he avenging Sam leaving Drew? I mean, I don't know what motivation he would have to go after Sam.
Well, I feel like Sam came into town full of cons and schemes, so
Yeah.
I feel like it's got to be about something that happened before she got to Port Charles.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I just don't know why would he be? I don't know what his connection to that would be, but I guess we'll find out.
We'll save this for a little bit more to the end when we get to news and gossip. But so we'll save that topic for about Shiloh and his connection to maybe another member of Port Charles.
Oh.
Yes. So get ready for that a little bit later on in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of Christina, as everybody's laughing or making kind of giving me that look of incredulity. Yes, that's a good word.
Sure.
See, that's why I'm with her, because she knows these big words.
There you go.
We also see something that people have been talking about a lot, and that is the connection between Christina and Val.
Yeah.
And we do see that she gives that kind of like temple massage that they people are giving like Oscar, and now she's doing it to Val, kind of helping her get rid of the tension and stress.
Yeah.
And then they have a little moment and they kiss.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Val freaks out,
Yep.
takes off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think this is ultimately leading up to a storyline where Val will be figuring out her sexuality?
I assume so. I can't imagine they're just going to let it lie in its current state. So I think there are definitely, it looks like things for Val to figure out and to work through. But I also appreciate that they don't seem to be rushing this, and this is also a storyline that may play out for quite a bit of time, as Val figures this out and starts piecing things together for herself. So I assume, although Val, she's not on very much, so it's hard to say, are they committing to this storyline? Is this a new storyline, or is this just something that's going to pop up, periodically as Val comes into the scene? I don't know.
Yeah, it's that is one of the things about some certain stories. Like, it's like with Ned being mayor. Like you
Right.
don't get to see it that much to really get fully invested in it. And so like
Right.
every couple months when they come on, you're like, oh, okay, now we're supposed to really care about this for the day
Right.
or two that we might see these characters.
Yeah, or Brad and Lucas with the baby.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Yeah, no, there are some really interesting storylines that are being floated and with characters we don't see very often. So that's an interesting choice too on the part of the writers.
The one last thing about Shiloh, to jump back that for a second. The one thing I do kind of like about the Shiloh storyline is that it does feel like those old school soap opera storytelling where you could tell a definitive beginning to a storyline happening. Where you're like, all right, this is somebody that is going to be around for 6 to 8 months and is going to be causing these certain characters a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing this is the beginning of that story.
Well, one last thought on him too. I thought it was interesting when when Sam and Jason come over and they're kind of giving him the third degree, and then they left, and then Shiloh really lays into Christina, almost in a creepy way. Just
Did you think that was creepy?
yeah. I just like he was really in her face and just really just intense with her. And I don't. To me, it just showed hints of a side of him that could be controlling. I mean, I guess in a cult leader sort of way, but there was just an intensity and a controlling nature that it caught me off guard. That he kind of went after her that much for how she had reacted to Jason and Sam.
Yeah, there's going to be some dark sides of Shiloh coming out.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how soon does he get really creepy.
Right.
Now, somebody that used to be creepy, but I guess the show's been working hard to kind of redeem, and that's your boy Julian.
Oh, Julian.
Are you a fan of Julian?
I am a fan of Julian.
Really?
Yeah. I guess we haven't talked about this. Excuse me. Yeah, I am. I mean, he doesn't have much to do now, other than running Charlie's and dating Kim, which that may be over too. But I kind of like this, kinder, gentler Julian.
So, all right, because I felt like I checked out Julian as a character when he held the knife to Alexis's throat.
Oh, I hated that. Yeah, I'm with you. I was not a fan of that. I mean, that was so over the top and just so unpleasant. And so I didn't like that either. But there's something about how he is trying to rebuild his life, owning Charlie's and dating Kim. I do like him and Kim together. I don't know if that's a popular opinion, but I like them together. And I like that he's trying to figure out how to just be kind of an upstanding member of the community.
Do you want to see him and Alexis back together?
I don't think so.
Neither
Do
do
you?
I feel like there is a section of fandom that the Julexis fans that seem to be invested in that. I'm not. No matter what, I guess, was written into Julian's motivations about holding that knife to Alexis's throat, and then had to deal with his sister having something on him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It just made that, I felt like they made that relationship way too toxic for me to get it to the point where I'd be like, I can't feel like I could ever really invest in them as a couple.
No, I agree. I feel like that. I mean, how could you? I guess people have gone back to significant others for all sorts, in surprising circumstances. But I just don't see how you go back after that. I don't know. There's a little bit of a been there, done that with Alexis and Julian. And I'm not feeling like for a long time, whenever they were in the same room, it was like, she's like, I hate him. I love him. I hate him. I love him. But I'm not feeling that anymore. Like, I feel like she still feels pulled to him in a way that she probably always will. But I'm not sensing that she's like actively longing for him.
Yeah, but she does care about
She cares.
him.
She definitely cares. And the knife on throat thing, I guess, is in the past now. But I'm not sensing that same, because she seems so torn for so long. Like, I know I'm not supposed to love him anymore, but I still do. And I'm not picking up on that vibe anymore.
I thought they kind of gotten past it, which I was excited about. And then they did an episode, was it a couple weeks ago, where Kim, Julian and I think Kim were talking outside, and Alexis is watching from inside Charlie's. I'm like, oh man, all right. Come on.
I know.
But we see Julian, who always trying his best, and whether it's running into Willow and having Willow stink eye at him,
I know.
or trying to do right by Kim and comes to see her on New Year's Eve, and she's kissing Drew.
Yeah.
And so now he's that like, we're done, Kim.
To me, I don't know. All of that just felt. I don't know. It felt too. I don't know if it's rushed or artificial, but it's because I hadn't been sensing much chemistry between Kim and Drew, And all of a sudden they're having this kiss that Julian happens to see, and I'm like, what? And then immediately it happens, and Kim and Drew are like, oh, that was a mistake. And you're not sensing that there's any, I'm not feeling a pull between them either. So it's like, we're really going to blow up Kim and Julian over that? Like, where is this going?
For as much as, I don't see that spark between them, and I feel like, but I feel like the show's laid more groundwork into seeing Kim and Julian as a couple.
Yeah.
So I buy that more.
Yeah.
And maybe if they laid that same groundwork with Drew and Kim, maybe,
Right.
or maybe if they just had that natural spark,
Right.
in those scenes
Right.
where you're like, man, they're clearly into each other. But I
Yeah.
don't feel like either of them really, at least Drew for sure,
Yeah.
wasn't playing those scenes where it's like, yeah, I'm really into her.
No, not at all.
Because
Not
I mean,
at
he's
all.
got zero context about her.
Right. And I'm not even feeling it with her towards him either, which is interesting in a way, because she, obviously she came into Port Charles with a much stronger connection to him. But I feel like once she was with Julian, she was all in on Julian, and there was no sense, like, maybe this is it, that there, I just didn't feel like she was ever torn. Like, I'm with Julian, but I still feel this affection for Drew. I didn't feel there was any waffling on her part in terms of her feelings. And so all of a sudden to be like kissing Drew in the hospital room, it just felt like it kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, understandably, they're under very intense circumstances with Oscar, but it still felt like that kiss was a little bit forced.
Yeah. It just felt like, all right, we got to do something to juice the storyline up, and let's have Julian see this really moment that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. No, I felt that too, but up to that point, even as they were, with Oscar for extended periods of time, I wasn't sensing any kind of budding chemistry, or they're starting to give each other looks. Like there was no build up to it, and then just all of a sudden it happened. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know. And then the part of me that likes Julian, I'm like, oh,
He's just
like kind of sad.
But it's a popular establishment. Everybody's going there.
To Charlie's?
Yeah.
I know.
Can't get enough.
I know.
Now, I did mention Julian and Willow having their encounters, and they've had a couple over our last couple of weeks there, where we really see that Julian didn't really strong arm, but just kind of persuaded her, just, that Willow's doing the right thing about giving up her baby up for adoption.
Yeah.
Real quick, how do you like Willow?
I like her. I mean, I think we're still getting to know Willow, so I don't have a fully formed opinion on her yet, but I'm liking her so far. As an aside, I was actually glad to learn that Julian hadn't strong-armed her in some, I mean, again, it's, he still talked her out of reclaiming her child. So, I mean, there's, that's probably not good in and of itself, but I was glad that at least he didn't do it in some, I don't know, super threatening or violent way. But I'm liking her. But I don't know. I don't have a really strong opinion on her yet. Do you?
Okay.
Do you?
When she first came in as just the teacher, I was like, ugh, I don't know about this. And then she had that terrible like meet cute with Chase at the garage of the hospital. Like, oof, that was rough.
Yeah.
She's fine.
Yeah.
I feel like there's still more skeletons in her closet that once they get revealed may make it more interesting.
Yeah.
I guess we have to see.
Is she going to start developing feelings for Michael? Like,
it does feel like it's going that direction.
They're kind of floating that, like, who is it going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for me, at least, it's too early to say.
All right, so now before we get into our news and gossip, real rapid fire, I'm going to throw out a few storylines that we didn't get to cover in depth this episode. Finn moving in with Anna. Super fast. What do you think?
Fine. Yeah. I don't. It seemed fine. I mean, everything with them feels a little. There's a whole lot of build up, and so I think it was a good move. I'm okay with it. You?
Ned and we had Ned and Laura's mayoral town hall.
I'm so over this election. I just feel so just. I don't know. It just feels stilted, and the way that politics plays out in Port Charles, it just the whole thing feels a little strange. So I fast forwarded through that, to be honest.
Right.
I didn't need to hear their town
Real
hall.
quick, who do you want to win, Ned or Laura?
I guess Laura. I guess, with all due respect to your boy Ned, but I feel like when Ned is mayor, we don't. I don't know. We don't seem to see any more of him.
Yeah, but because that's, of course, Wally Kurth doing double duty on Days and GH.
For sure.
I feel like I would love to see Ned more. I'd love to see Ned win, but we're still going to just see him about the same amount that we see. I feel like the reason the show probably wants to have Laura win is because it ties more into Ryan's storyline.
Right. Yeah, I feel like when Ned and Olivia are basically, mayor and first lady of Port Charles, it feels very one note to me. Like they just come in and do something mayoral and then they leave. So I don't know if it's adding much to the show for me that Ned's mayor.
Your boy Chet coming back and now working for Sonny at the boxing gym.
It seems so random. I guess it's fine.
That did seem weird.
And where did Amy go? Is Amy gone?
She's
I guess
hopefully busy doing other stuff,
at
which
the
is
hospital.
great.
Right. So I who knows where they're going with that? It felt a little out of the blue, but I have no issue with it.
Ava, how you feeling about Ava right now? I mean, she's born in Kiki. People keep coming over and say like, keep an eye on Kevin because he seems kind of weird.
Yeah, I think I'm just so amazed by how this storyline is playing out and how Ava's playing it. I think it's really powerful seeing her in this mourning process and. And as she will say, she didn't know Kevin before, so she has nothing to compare this new Kevin to. So I get it when she's like, I get you're telling me he's creepy, but like I have nothing to compare it to. So, but I'm appreciating how that storyline is playing out and how they're showing us her grief.
All right, and Nina and Valentine reuniting.
It's another, it's going to blow up sooner rather than later. I mean, I feel like even though Sasha's gone, the truth about that is going to have to come out at some point. So I guess it's fine, but I have thoughts for another day on, the whole Sasha thing and what Valentine did, which I thought that was all kind of ridiculous. So I think we know this is doomed for yet another breakup.
Yeah. And it's like, I feel like after that, you can't have them back together again. It's just...
Although Sonny and Carly,
Well, yeah, but this is going to come out, and then you still have the Claudette.
Yes. Oh, that's true.
That is still laying there, ready to be uncovered as well.
That's true.
So I mean, it's like we just got too many bombs in that relationship to make it viable.
Yeah.
And I feel like the next time it happens, it's got to be done for good because I can't watch another of them trying to come back together storyline.
Well, and she was so torn about going back with him, and I mean, seeing that it took her months and months and months and months to let herself trust him again. I can't imagine that once she finds out about Sasha or whatever it is, that she's going to let herself go down that road again, because you see what angst she has over choosing to be with him at all.
Real quick, some hot news and gossip here for you. We'll dive into that before we wrap up this episode.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So, as I mentioned, there are our boy Shiloh and our girl Willow. There might be some more things in their background that might make it more interesting. It looks like we're going to finally find out possibly that Willow may be the true biological daughter of Nina.
Oh.
Yes, because we've been... they are
I
very...
did not know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
So
All right.
I feel like that the half-heart pendant is going to be the big key to that.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that could lead that. And, of course, which is interesting because they've really put Willow and Nina at odds over this whole school stuff.
That's true. That's true.
And that there's a possibility, rumors have it, that Shiloh could actually be the father of Wiley. I don't know if that's the case or not. Well, no, that's what rumors speculating right now.
The father of... the father of the baby that
Willow gave up.
died. But
Yes.
because that baby
Correct.
died, right?
That's
so,
true, yes.
So it would be Shiloh and Willow,
Yes.
other baby.
Correct.
Got it. I'm with you.
So that could be the possibility for that.
Got it.
And then also we've got one of the GH stars, a family member is having a little difficulty here, some medical issues there. There we go. Why are you being up there? But now it's not going to tell me that's the special story. But we got Luz. In real life, her sister is suffering from diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, no.
And so they do have various GoFundMes to try to help her in the trying to battle that. So we wish her and her the best of luck there. And if you can do anything to help out with her and all that medical attention, I know that would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely.
Look at this, folks. We've done the first episode of GH Report in 2019. Erika, what did you think?
This was so much fun. I've been watching the show as long as Frank has been doing it, so I'm usually at home on a Sunday night just tuning in, so it's a little surreal doing it, but it was so much fun.
Oh, she'll really tell me what she thinks after. She's going to tear into me.
This has been great. Yeah, thank you all for humoring my presence.
There you go. Yes, I figured, why not bring one of the most important people in my life on to talk about a show that we both mutually love. There you go. Yes. There you go. We're getting all this happy. I'm so emotionally spent by this that, you know what? I'm going to have to take next week off. In fact, Carla and I will both be taking next week off. They're due to various outside real-world working gig opportunities that we both have. Carla and I will not be back here next week, but we'll be back on the 20th, Sunday, January 20th. We'll both be back here in these seats breaking down the latest and greatest in Port Charles here. But in the meantime, folks, thanks for joining us here. Like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and thank you everybody for hopping in the chat. You make this so much easier to do when we get to hear all your thoughtful thoughts, and I'll take all the criticism you throw my way. But as always, folks, thanks for watching us. We'll be back Sunday, January 20th. For Erika Schreiber, I've been your host, Frank Moran. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie, and we'll see you back here in 2 weeks for another episode of the GH Report right here on AfterBuzz TV.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.